They took 3 pilots of the group, and I was one of them. Jack Bradley was another, and Bob Stevens was another, and they sent us to an English base where we checked out in the brand new airplane we'd never heard of, the P-51. When we got the B model, it had the Merlin, Rolls-Royce Merlin engine and a 4-bladed prop. And it was absolutely gorgeous. That gave us, I guess, that much advantage over anything we fought against. When I first was assigned a plane of my own, and it was a chance to name it anything I wanted to name it. And I was still deciding when we went overseas on what to do for a name. And it was on an early mission that coming home I wound up with one other pilot. We were flying home in mutual support, and we were cruising along, and he said, "You stay here. I'm going to get up in the sun and maybe we can draw some action." And I said, "What do you think I am, live bait?" And he says, "Yeah." But when I got back, I told Smitty, my crew chief, paint live bait on this airplane. Well, the first one I shot any airplanes down was I was flying with a wingman named Billy D. Harris. We called him Bucky. And he and I were on the right side of a bunch of bombers, B-17 bombers. And somebody hollered, "There's bogeys at 2 o'clock." And I looked over at 2 o'clock area, and there were a large group, estimated 35 Messerschmitt 109, cruising parallel to the bombers and up above them. And so we turned over and started up underneath them. Like all fighter pilots in combat, you check 6 to make sure nobody's coming up behind you. And I looked back, and here came another group of about 35 more. And so we just held our distance, throttled back a little, let them pass over the top of us. Nobody seemed to notice us. And we waited till the whole group had gone over, checked once more to make sure it was clear, pulled up right behind the last poor tail end Charlie, and started shooting. And I got one burning, and we had others damaged. We had dove down, and when we dove down, I spotted another one by himself and hit him pretty good, and he bailed out. And I looked to make sure nobody's around me, and I flew by him to show him the name on my plane, that I go back and tell him the who got you. That was one of the most exciting missions I've ever had. Jack Bradley. Jack was in the 353 squadron to start with, and he was very good, and he was the leader. Jack Bradley led the mission. We always maintained radio silence, and you weren't allowed to say anything because the enemy could track you. The only way you could talk on the radio was to push the button, and when you did, you transmitted your voice, but you could not hear anything else. And somebody's button had been stuck. The guy was singing a popular song from those days that was silly as hell. It was "Mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy." And this guy was singing out loud. And Bradley shouted, turn off your radio. Of course, the guy couldn't hear it, so he goes on singing. And so Bradley tried something else. He said, everybody who can hear me, wave your wings. So everybody rocked their wings. Of course, the guy that's sitting there, he doesn't know what's going on, but everybody else is doing it, so he does it too. So we didn't learn anything. Bradley didn't learn anything. So we crossed the Ruhr Valley where they had tremendous anti-aircraft fire, and it started bursting around us, and the singing stopped immediately, and the guy started breathing very heavily. And Bradley shouted at him, "Sing now, you son of a bitch." And